The SEC and CFTC just dropped a joint statement that could change crypto forever in the United States. But the real picture of this video that I kind of want to frame here are these breaking documents that I just found, as sometimes I do. First off, we've got the Central Bank of Malaysia essentially saying that Bitcoin and XRP could eventually replace bank deposits and currency in circulation. This is a new document. Bank of Egypt touting Ripple applications in a banking education document. We've got the United Nations essentially saying that 24,000 individuals are being educated on a joint Algorand slash UN platform. And we got World Health Organization, which I have never found before, essentially saying, and for those that aren't aware, World Health Organization is like multiple countries, that their auditing is running on Hedera Hashgraph. This is going to be a good one. Buckle up. I guess I'll start with the SEC and CFTC one. I'll try to keep it brief, but for the first time, the SEC and CFTC confirming that registered exchanges like New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, CBOE are not prohibited from listing spot crypto asset products, including leveraged and margin trades. This is massive because until now, spot crypto markets in the US lived in kind of a gray zone. With this move, the two top market regulators are fully aligned, which is a little bit rare that the CFTC and SEC are aligned for crypto, clearing a path for regulated spot trading of crypto assets. This means institutional money floodgates could now open. Wall Street players can now get direct exposure to crypto on regulated venues. It's not just about Bitcoin and Ethereum. This could extend to other tokens and even tokenized real world assets. And most importantly, this puts the US in direct competition with Europe and Asia to lead global crypto markets. All right, let me get into the meat and potatoes of what I found here today. First and foremost, you have this blockchain fundamental for bankers document that comes out of the Central Bank of Egypt. And essentially, this is a course description that they are presenting here. Now, I want you guys to pay attention. Obviously, you have the normal things, tokenization, all that stuff. But blockchain ecosystems and platforms, I just find the verbiage interesting that they have Ripple down here for banking applications. Not a crazy find, but anyways, I still thought it was worth sharing with you all. I think the bigger find here is this Bank of Malaysia working paper, Fundamentals of Modern Money and Its Application to Central Bank Digital Currency and Exploratory Sharia Analysis. This is July of 2025. I'm going to shotgun through this stuff, but this is essentially in this area, public and private monies in a domestic economy. Diagram 4 talks about private money issuers, banks with current operations. And essentially, they're saying new private digital assets, for example, decentralized tokens and cryptocurrencies, are emerging as alternatives to the current monetary and payment instruments. Private tokens, so these are not privacy tokens, but just, not essentially government issued money tokens. Private tokens such as Bitcoin or XRP may be widely used as a means of payment outside the banking system in the future. And then they have here replacing currency in circulation or CIC or bank deposits. They obviously give a caveat after that saying, nonetheless, blah, 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 blah. Still find the verbiage interesting. Private tokens such as Bitcoin or XRP may be widely used as a means of payment outside the banking system in the future, replacing currency in circulation or bank deposits. And again, this is a Central Bank of Malaysia working paper that just came out in July. Now, I have not seen this yet. This is I just found this today. This is the AI revolution in Asian healthcare. Bear with me because this document kind of sucks to navigate through. But this is a legit magazine. Stratifying resources for improved patient outcomes. This just came out. This is pharma in Asia. What I want to share here is this. This looks like the World Health Organization is literally using Hedera, like the entire World Health Organization, for auditing. Let me see if I can find this. All right, so yeah, let me go one page back for some context. Digital twins and autonomous biomanufacturing and precision engineering for next generation RNA vaccines. How does the digital twin framework align with World Health Organization's pandemic ready manufacturing blueprint? What gaps does it fill in current global preparedness strategies? This is down. Oh, I'm blocking it. Hold on. Let me see if I can full screen this for you guys. Let me minimize my screen so you guys can see what I'm reading here. Let me minimize. I'm not used to this yet. Okay, here we go. We're down on the bottom right here. The platform addresses the World Health Organization's 100-day mission through three innovations. Federated learning networks enable 72-hour process transfers, etc., AI-driven antigen screening, and quantum computing optimized adjuvant combinations. What's really interesting is the framework's dynamic QBD model integrates live genomic surveillance from whatever that word is and automatically updates LNP design when emerging variants exceed whatever. This is saying a novel blockchain enabled audit. This is built on Hedera Hashgraph. This is the top left now. Ensures real time compliance tracking across 140 plus regulatory jurisdictions, slashing tech transfer documentation time by 79% compared to World Health Organization's pre 2023 paper based systems. Let me read that again. And regardless of kind of what you think about the topic and subject matter here, it's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild find. I don't know how this wasn't fed to me or anything. I just stumbled across this, as sometimes I do. A novel blockchain enabled audit built on Hedera Hashgraph ensures real time compliance tracking across 140 plus regulatory jurisdictions, slashing tech transfer documentation time by 79% compared to World Health Organization's pre 2023 paper based system. That tells me that World Health Organization's 2023 paper based system has shifted. And it looks like some of this, at least part of World Health Organization, is being directly audited and compliance checks are running on Hedera. This is across 140 different nations, I'm assuming, because 140 different regulatory jurisdictions. That's pretty freaking wild. Just stumbled across this morning. Again, this is the first time I've ever seen a document like this. This is a big magazine publication or whatever. There's a lot more in here. That's just a small snippet of Hedera that's in here, but it's a legit document. You can go and actually, find it. But anyways, again, the AI revolution in Asian healthcare, it's right in there. And if the World Health Organization is running on Hedera, that's pretty crazy. All right, so let me move forward here because there's another big one coming out of the United Nations, if I can find it, because I have a lot of new stuff pulled up today. All right, so this document I found too, and this is newer. This is United Nations Funding Compendium. This is August. This just came out. And shout out to Algorand. The United Nations goes digital first. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit for you guys. To drive a digital first culture across the United Nations, the United Nations Development Program teamed up with the ITU, which I think is International Telecommunications Union, and the United Nations Innovation Network to launch the first UN-wide community dedicated to digital for development with 3,700 members from over 60 organizations. It fosters ongoing knowledge sharing and innovation. Stats are pretty interesting here. 24,000 United Nations Development Program, United Nations volunteers, and UNCDF personnel can now deepen their understanding of blockchain through the Blockchain Education Academy, which was developed between the United Nations and the Algorand Foundation. UNDP never rests in improving its in-house digital skills. UNDP Digital Guides accessed over 12,000 times in 2024, empowered teams to understand blockchain. So shout out to Algorand there. I mean, that's massive, essentially educating the entire UN, 24,000 development program individuals, volunteers, and UNCDF personnel, and over 12,000 times this was accessed. So pretty cool there. Shout out to Algorand. Thunes and Ripple expand cross-border payments partnership. Some of the OGs may probably remember the name Thunes. I want to say back in the day, Thunes, there was like always thoughts that Thunes may have been RippleNet, but Thunes had deeper ties into Stellar. Now I'm remembering the old deep dives and stuff. Thankfully, we still have in the XRP community a couple of legit researchers, one of which probably I would argue one of the best, if not kind of the best that's still there. Wrath of Kahneman, finally direct confirmation, exclamation point. Ripple and Thunes are combining Thunes network with Ripple's blockchain-powered payment solution, or Ripple Payments. A lot of people still say RippleNet. It's not RippleNet, it's Ripple Payments. It's you kind of had like the evolution of like XVIA, X Rapid, all that stuff into RippleNet and then into Ripple Payments. Actually, I still remember like Ripple Cloud was way back in the day too. You can find some documents that say Ripple Cloud. Anyways, Ripple Payments, blockchain-powered payment solution to allow enterprises, Ripple's enterprise customers to more easily withdraw funds in new currencies and countries. This has always been hard to confirm in print. Quotes indicate blockchain assets by supporting real-time settlement and deep local integrations. We're enabling digital asset companies to deliver seamless, compliant, and accessible cross-border payments at scale. That's a quote from Thunes. This partnership not only facilitates seamless, low-cost transactions, but also supports the growing demand for innovative blockchain-powered financial solutions globally. That's a quote from Ripple. Shout out to Wrath of Kahneman there. We're seeing more and more treasury reserves in crypto. NASDAQ listed Caliber unveiling a Chainlink treasury reserve. This isn't a brand new document, but this came out over the past week, I think. These other documents that I found I had not seen before, especially the World Health Organization Hedera thing and some of these other ones. But Caliber essentially saying they've approved the groundbreaking digital asset treasury strategy in Link. So shout out to the Chainlink ecosystem. Did an interview with Swarm Markets yesterday and published today. Not financial advice, 1,000% not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. Genfinity has media relationship in the Hedera ecosystem, and we get to do some of these interviews every once in a while. We don't have a relationship with the foundation though, but we decided to do this interview anyways. Apple, Tesla, MicroStrategy stocks launch on Hedera, powered by HBAR, the network, obviously via Swarm Markets and Hedera Foundation. Some of the verbiage in here is interesting because this wasn't only Swarm. This is Hedera Foundation participating in this interview as well. And Hanya from the Hedera Foundation essentially says it's not just about, we've been talking about this for a while, tokenizing these real world assets. It's about what these institutions and what these investors can do with these assets once real world assets are tokenized. You essentially can make them programmable. You're thinking like, tokenized stocks become essentially programmable equities that can move into programmable and strategic kind of payment flows and all the other stuff, or investment flows, whatever it may be. So really that kind of convergence into this digital financial system that we've been talking about. But anyways, pretty cool to see traditional stocks coming on chain on Hedera, as well as these other ecosystems. 194 members. I do want to see, by the way, I can't wait until I know XRPL just got updated on rwa.xyz. Hedera is still not updated on there. I think Algorand just got put on there a handful of months ago. Same thing with XDC, handful of months ago. It'll be nice to see whenever all of these ecosystems numbers are accurately reflected, kind of like what's on Market Cap or CoinGecko right now. Because I definitely think that we're way above like a $40 billion total tokenized RWAs. It's got to be closer to like 75 or 80 or maybe a little less than that, but still. And that's just a drop in the bucket. You can watch that interview if you want to on genfinity.io. And again, World Health Organization, 194 member countries in the World Health Organization as of 2025. What did it say jurisdictionally? Hedera covering 140 or so. So that's pretty, pretty crazy. Let me see if I can find it. This thing sucks to navigate through, by the way. Every time I swipe once, it goes like multiple times. Oh my gosh. Okay. 140 plus regulatory jurisdictions. Again, this is wild. I've never seen this. So this is literally a novel blockchain-enabled audit built on Hedera Hashgraph, ensures real-time compliance tracking across 140 plus regulatory jurisdictions. 140. Slashing tech transfer documentation time by 79% compared to the World Health Organization's prior 2023 paper-based systems. Pretty interesting. Anyways, bottom line, adoption continues in the crypto space. And, I think that it's only a kind of a matter of time until I'm just messing with the views at this point in time because these really suck. Um, Only a matter of time before hopefully the bow kind of breaks here because between literally central banks saying that things like Bitcoin and XRP can potentially, I don't know about, fully replace, but that's the verbiage the Bank of Malaysia uses is, replace currency in circulation or bank deposits. I don't think we're there yet, but I think that that's kind of just crazy to even think that we see these central banks saying this. 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, these central banks were not saying saying things like that in documentation. And then every once in a while you find these little snippets during deep dives. I don't get as much time anymore to deep dive as I want. But you stumble across stuff like this with the WHO or World Health Organization. You're just like, that's crazy. So like, if you can find stuff like this, I guess the point is, I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on or anything like that, but I do think it's pretty crazy that the stuff that you can publicly find is insane. And we know how many NDAs are not, any one ecosystem, just across the board in crypto. Like these traditional entities and enterprises all have non-disclosures with all these blockchain integrators and stuff until they don't. Like there's probably literally, actually, I know there's literally like announcements that are just like waiting to go live across the board in a lot of these ecosystems. I'm sure there are. And, you know, these NDAs, get in place. These things sometimes just because they're ready to go live, they don't go live for months. I'm sure sometimes even a year or so. This stuff changes so quickly. But, anyways, exciting video because I actually found some deep dive stuff which I haven't found in a couple of days, couple of weeks here. But between the SEC and the CFTC working together, between the Bank of Egypt talking about Ripple applications, Bank of Malaysia talking about XRP and Bitcoin potentially replacing currency in circulation eventually, or bank deposits. You've got the World Health Organization running on Hedera, and Algorand driving 24,000 United Nations individuals towards blockchain education. Pretty good video. I hope it was a good video, and I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.